Once every quarter after a training session, guest speakers are invited to Klorkop to chat to the players about things that influence the game or would make a difference in their lives. We popped in to get a feel for what the players are learning off the field.
Okay, so we're here to do anti-doping education for the Mamelodi Sundowns soccer team. So this is an audit that comes from FIFA as well. They do expect that all local and international teams do receive anti-doping education. We go through all the rules, so the basics of the 2015 WADA code, which is the global regulation code. And we just explain to them how they will know what medications they can use or can't use, how do they find all of that information out, how does the doctor need to assist them with certain things, and then obviously certain risks like using certain drugs, supplements, and those kind of things. So we just give them the overall awareness and education.
A lot of medications on the prohibited list can be bought at the pharmacies, so are readily available. Players must be really careful and know the contraband list. But how big is doping in football?
I don't have recent statistics from the PSL itself, but from football as a whole, we do still find incidences of stimulant use, marijuana use, and we've had cases of steroid use as well. So those are definitely important drugs that still goes around.
Players should also be wary of self-medicating for illnesses, as the ingredients of the medication might contain substances that are on the banned list. Itlhokomeleng Majika.
There is definitely a possibility for that to take place. There's a lot of flu medications or medications that treat certain issues that are prohibited in sport because of certain ingredients. That's why they actually need to be in communication with a sports physician who's aware of the doping list, so that they can advise them as to what they can or can't use. But even if they, out of their own, just go and take a flu medication and it does have a prohibited substance in it, it's still a positive test. They can't turn around and say, oh, but I didn't know. There is strict liability to that sense, so they have to take responsibility for whatever they do to themselves.
The players receive their information with open ears and engaged Nareen on the topic, especially around the use of supplements, which aren't regulated and could put the players in the doping red zone unknowingly.
It is very important to us. I mean, especially from a football perspective, we had an incident where they felt like they didn't know what was going on. So from our side, it is important that all sports, especially from provincial levels up, do know what is anti-doping, because they're going to be faced with it in any kind of professional competition.
After the South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport had taken care of their health, the players' financial well-being was invested in.
Today we're going to talk about building a legacy as players. Of course, we know that they tend to earn a good income. I'm not here to tell them exactly where to put their money or where to put their income, but in essence, we want to put together a way of building a legacy, not just when they're still alive, but also for their descendants. So we're going to look through that whole spectrum of how do you start early, because the earlier you start, the better it is, and move along as you're earning, put your money in the right places. And at the end of the day, especially after you've retired, you've got a good enough kitty to keep your income going without you having to work for it.
Players' careers won't last forever, and their earning potential is excellent now. So making hay while the sun shines is vital.
It's quite important. I mean, we've seen cases where people in their early adulthood, and especially when you're earning good money and you still have the ability, you earn a lot of money, but then when you're 50, you can't be as active physically as you are when you're younger. So what we do is that we try and put that into perspective, and we make sure that we help you to see the future now so that you can start doing something immediately.
The last talk of the day was given by the match commissioner, and as one would think, gave way to some interesting debates on the application of the rules.
It's critical, I believe, that we're all part of this wonderful game of football. I think it's very important that there is a working relationship, that we need to see from the player's perspective and vice versa from the referee's perspective. I think it's very important that it's not an us and them. We're part of this wonderful game together. And I think I've always said that there are three teams on the field of play. Sundowns are playing Pirates, the third team are the referees.
Among other things, the team were taken through how the referees rule on challenges and the sometimes controversial offside rule.
I think players should know the laws of the game. That's critical. For example, denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. That is an automatic sending off, and we're going to look at that today. 2 cautionable offences. So if you've been cautioned already, be careful, because the next ones you're going to be sent off. So I think players need to know what is a red card, what is a reckless challenge, what is excessive force, and I'm going to cover that today with the players.
But it wasn't just the players that received clarity on decision-making issues. The coaches also learned some things from the experience.
I think we should be doing this for all the teams. I have the blessings of SAFA. I think it's important because they do it in England and they've been doing it in the World Cups as well. To see how referees see certain aspects. So I think it's critical that we go around to the clubs. Not the first time. I've done this for managers, and I think players to see it from the referee's perspective, and we also see it from the player's perspective. I think it's critical that we go around and we speak to players, because it's not an us and them on the field of play.